Welcome to the orchard at Altapass. This orchard's more than 100 years old. Started by the Clinchfield Railroad, which runs right below us down here. A local historian told us we had bought historically the most active place on the Blue Ridge. And the geology of this place is what makes it so. Behind me here, McKinney Gap is the lowest gap in the Eastern Continental Divide for 100 miles or so. We found a spear point 10,000 years old, dating back to the end of the last ice age. So this passage has been important throughout human history in North America. There are more than 2,000 trees in production here. Most of them are the old trees, some of them 70, even 80 years old, planted back when this was a very profitable apple orchard. Now we keep replenishing the trees, and we've introduced maybe 15 or 20 new kinds of apples here that were not part of the orchard when we bought it. But basically, the crop comes from the old trees. Well, the favorites that grow here are Stamen winesap, a good old tart mountain apple people use to make apple butter out of. The Virginia Beauty, which is probably the best heirloom apple of the region, most sought after. But then there's the York, one of my favorites. If you ever ate Gerber baby food, you probably ate York apples. Golden Delicious is better here than anywhere. If you can chomp into it right off the tree, it's a whole lot different than what you get in the supermarket. The orchard's been here for more than 100 years. The Blue Ridge Parkway right up the hill there, less than 75. When the Parkway chose this route, they had to buy a strip of land through an operating orchard. That meant private property on both sides of the Blue Ridge, very close to the Blue Ridge Parkway. That's why we were interested in buying the place. We bought it on the spur of the moment with one purpose in mind, just to keep the orchard from being developed. Since it was private land, it was at risk. So we formed this nonprofit, a 501c3 public charity, whose mission it is to preserve the history, heritage, and culture of the mountains and to involve everybody in it. So, as a result, we have a lot of programs here that are free. They're free because they are preserving cornerstones or important parts of the culture and natural heritage of the area.
We have the butterfly garden here, and its big purpose is to attract people to come up here and see this natural phenomenon of butterflies in the garden. Also inside we have a wonderful bee attraction. What we have is a hive right inside the building and a tube that goes outside the window, and the bees come in and out, and the children who are looking at it and the adults always try to figure out who is the queen bee. Sometimes they can tell and sometimes they can't. Then in addition to all these things, we have walking trails that have just opened up here at the orchard. So there are a lot of very special educational and enjoyable things that happen here at the orchard.
My wife kids me a little because she points out that we bought a sound system for our music before we bought a cash register. She knew what she was in for, and now we have 150 free music performances a year. Free to all comers, but the foundation that we formed pays the musicians because that's an important cornerstone in the culture of the area. I think the most important thing that we do here at the orchard is reflected in the people that come and the way we interact with people. We change people's lives. The values that we espouse are values that have lived in these mountains for generations past. And so we're determined that the nonprofit continue in ways that honor the values of the mountains, but make it available to the newcomers, the people who've moved here like me, the people who come down the parkway and don't know what they've found until they come in and find a happy place with a lot of smiles and a lot of friendships that develop here. The place is magic. The chemistry is marvelous. We hope to continue that, not just for this generation, but for generations to come.